Hi everyone, welcome back to Java 1 for All. In this video, we are going to start talking about Acces modifier. And to start, let's just create a new class. Right click over domain. We are going to get back to this employee later. Let's just close everything and let's create a new class called person with two attributes, name and age. Okay, since we have a domain class, we need a test. We have a class person test 01. Okay, we have been doing the same thing over and over again. We are going to create a new reference variable, and then we are going to instantiate a new object, and we are going to give some data to name. Let's call, let me see, Jiraiya, and then age. Maybe 70 is a good one. Okay, age should be integer. Okay, person representing a real person with age and name, and the person test. Well, we would like to get the values back, so let's create a print. We don't need any parameters, we just need to print the data, this dot name and this dot age. So if you press Ctrl D, you can duplicate the lines. Okay, so pretty straightforward, everything that we know so far, but by printing here, we can start thinking about some problems that may happen here in this code. So we know about cohesion. High cohesion is good. Cohesion is related to what your class is going to do. One thing is the perfect goal. So if we have a class that's representing the real world, we are not going to put business logic inside that class. So for example, we have person. If we are representing the person and also connecting to a database and checking, for example, the social security number of that person, well, that's a lot. So you're not representing the person anymore, but you are also doing business logic. So you have low cohesion. So high cohesion is what we are trying to achieve when we are developing. And there is another concept that is called coupling. So coupling, it's I think this is how we spell it, is related to how the classes they are tied. So what does it mean? Coupling and Acces modifier, they are completely related, because if I do some changes in my person and my person test stopped working, it means that my classes, they are coupled. So high coupling is bad and low coupling is good. So what we are trying to achieve is a low coupling. It means that if I do some changes in my classes, that should not break the code that's using that's being used in different classes. Let's give one classic example. We have been creating public attributes. Well, it's pretty straightforward because we can give values, but the problem is there is no defense. So what happens if I just come here and I say, hey, this age now is -1? There is nothing, absolutely nothing the person can do that will block that. And if we execute again this code, we will get the age -1. So we have a big problem. And to fix that, we have to first block the attributes to be accessed directly from different classes. And second, we need to give a way for our classes to access this attribute, both to give values and to retrieve those values. So the first thing is, how can we protect and say nobody besides me as an object can access these two attributes? First, and now we know the public access modifier. The second one is private. So the private access modifier is saying nobody besides this class, this object, will have access to name and age. And you can see here that our print methods is still working, even though if we rename and remove the this. So no problems. The object can always have access to everything that is inside: public, private, protected, or default, something that we are going to learn later. So this is good. Now nobody can access, and we have one problem. Nothing is going to compile anymore. Why? Because these attributes, name and age, they are private. And when you say they are private, it's like nobody should even know that they exist. So it's like you asking me, for example, what is inside your wallet. If you ask how many bills I have inside my wallet, I have no idea. It's private. So I could guess a number, but I should not know what is inside, or even if you have something. So this is what means being private. Nobody knows, nobody should access it directly. And now we need to give a way for the person test to access. So do I want the attributes to be filled with some values? And do I want to give it back? So these are things that you should ask yourself when you are creating the methods. But basically, there are conventions in Java. So every time you are trying to put some values, you are trying to set those values. So we have to create a method that will do that for you. So basically, the method's public, because if it's private, nobody will be able to access. That is going to be nothing to return, because you are putting values inside the memory. It's like you give a name, Jiraiya, and what would be, you could ask Jiraiya back, but you are sending a value. It's like there is no purpose for you to return something. And you can see that we have here set name and set age. So set is a very, very strong Java convention that I highly advise you to follow, because there are some frameworks, there are some libraries that they expect your attributes to have, if they are accessible, this name set and then the name of the attribute following the convention of methods. So set is one word and name is another word, and you know that you should follow the camel case. First word lowercase, all the following words should have the first letter capital letter. So set name, and if we are trying to give something to put in memory, we need to ask for an argument, and the parameter here is the same type as the variable. So string, and the name, by default, usually you will see the same name as the variable. So here we will face something that can happen if you are not paying attention. Sometimes you just put like this, and you may think that you are putting values here, but you are not. So for example, let's come here, let's select this and just press Ctrl/, and I will call now person dot set name Jiraiya. By executing this code, you will see that we have null and 0. Everything is working. Why is working? Because name and age, they will have the default initialization values. That is null for reference types and 0 for numeric types. But see here, you are giving the value name to names, but you are not giving to this name, the instance variable. And why is that? Because now you are kind of overriding the name. Remember, Java, we have scopes, and this is a local scope. They can have the same name as the class instance attribute, but unless you use the word this to say, hey, now this name, this means that the memory that is allocated to this object in the person instance will have the variable, will have the same value as what I'm getting here in my parameter. So this.name will receive this name that is coming here. Now if I execute again, you will see Jiraiya. Now going back, I have to do the same. So that's why it's important for you to pay attention to this. Now going back to the student, we didn't use, sorry, it was not student, it was employee. We didn't use this for any of the attributes that we are using here. And why is that? Because there is no variable that is with a closed scope. It means that is closer to this, that has the same name. If you want, you can give this.name, this.age, this.salaries, and I would advise you, because you are starting to give the this word for all the variables you are trying to access, so this, but it's not mandatory unless you have another variable with the same, exactly same name coming here as argument. So going back to person test, we are saying here set name, going back to person. So there is no need for the name to be the same. So I could call this X, and then we don't need to use this. Basically, the name will now have the same value as X, and if I execute, you will get the same result. But it's pretty common to see exactly the same name in the parameter as you have in your class. And now I need to do the same. Public void for age, set age, and what's the type that I'm going to put in memory? Integer. And now this dot age will be the same as the age coming here. So Shift F10. And now we have here the value 0 because we are not sending anything. We need to send person dot set age, and we can give 70. So basically now you are not assigning directly anymore to the attributes, but you are calling a method, and this method is assigning the value to you. So what does it mean, low coupling? Why is this called low coupling? Because now it doesn't matter what I do inside this method, as long as I'm achieving the results that I would like to have, it will not break the person test. So I can still put -1 and it will work, but now we can do something about it without breaking the person test. We can add if age is lower than 0. Since we don't know how to work with errors, let's just say invalid age, and then you want to stop, just return. Now if I execute again, or if I go back to person test, nothing is happening, it's still working, no compilation errors. And if I execute again, we will get invalid age, and we still get 0 because it's the default value for integer type. But the important part is that we don't have to worry about breaking the code there anymore, because we are giving like a middle guy in between our attribute and whoever is accessing it. Okay, William, now I know how to give values, but how do I retrieve the values? Because what happens if I just want the name? I don't want the print anymore. I just want the name. How can I get the name? Because if I put my set inside println, we are going to get an error, because, well, it's going to return void, and we cannot use a method that returns void inside the println. So basically we need to get the value, and as the name implies, we need to create methods that will retrieve the value in memory. Basically, now the things will do will go like this. First, access modifier. If we want people to access, we need to give public access, and then the return. So if I'm asking for something that is in memory, I need to tell what I'm going to return, and most of the time is exactly the same type as the variable. So if I'm going to return the name, it will be a string, and then I need the name of this method, and there is a convention as well. So we have set as a convention to put values, and get as a convention to return values. So get name, and then do I need parameters? No, because I just want to retrieve whatever is in memory for the name. I just need to return whatever is in memory inside the space allocated for the name. And the same, now I need to do the same for age. Public, what's the age going to return? An integer. And what's the name of the method? Start with get, and then the name of the attribute with the first letter uppercase. Again, I don't need anything, and I will just return whatever is in memory for my age. And then on person test, I can call person.getName, Control D to duplicate, person.getAge. And if I execute, I should have now the same value because I'm setting -1. Shift F10. So we have the same. Now if I put back any value, 70 for example, Shift F10, and then we have exactly the same result as the print. So from this class, what I need you to remember is the convention. Every time you are setting, it starts with set, and every time you are getting, it starts with get, followed by the name of the attribute. And then if you are getting, return type, no arguments. And if you're setting, no return with arguments. So we are going to practice in each class that we are going to create from now on, because all the attributes will be private. And with this, we are achieving low coupling. Okay, so this is everything that I wanted to tell you. See you in the next video. Bye.